Please consider supporting the VALE via Patreon or our merch store, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe.
I guess I'll just do like a little intro thing for this. Hello, the VALE fans. No, I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna look into the lens this time because that's the way YouTube people do it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hello, fans of the VALE. We have nothing to put out yet because animation has taken us forever. So we thought we'd make like a little Q&A video, like people do sometimes, because we're desperate and the algorithm is fucking us day by day. So, and we're shrinking in people's feeds. So we're putting this
in their hearts and their minds.
And in their hearts and minds. Yeah, people are forgetting that we exist. So we're putting this out for you all to watch.
It's not acceptable.
Yeah. Anyway, so without further ado, we got a couple of questions here. I put a thing out on Instagram. Some people ask questions. A couple of them are doublers. So if you haven't had your question asked, they sound very similar. That's why. Yeah, let's just fucking, without further ado, let's just jump into it.
What was your main inspiration for all of this? I presume they mean the VALE.
Yes, I think
and that's
so.
from _Samo_Kelly.
Samo Kelly.
Yeah.
I thought that said Sumo Kelly then. What was the inspiration for all of the VALE? Basically, I don't really know. Just growing up in Vale, really. That was the inspiration for it. What kind of inspiration?
Well, your inspiration would be the town where you're from.
Yeah, I guess.
My inspiration when writing it with you would be where I'm from.
Yeah.
But I guess overall it's more the Welsh Valleys, isn't it?
What kind of inspiration do they mean, though? Do they mean, like, what inspired you to make it, or what was your actual... Like,
there was no inspiration to make it, if you deep down, because you just started doodling, didn't you?
Yeah, but what are they... Like, sometimes inspiration means, like, what things did you watch, or books did you read and stuff before you made it?
Well, go with that, then.
Well, first, to answer that part of the question, inspiration for films and TV and stuff.
What do you take inspiration from?
Definitely Beaches with Bette Midler.
Yeah, that's a good choice.
That's my no.
That's a strong choice. That.
Definitely Bottom with Rick Mail and Adrian Edmondson, which we were coincidentally talking about yesterday.
Yeah.
Definitely South Park. Definitely Mike Judge stuff like Beavis and Butthead and King of the Hill.
I'm more on board with the King of the Hill stuff. I'm not a massive fan of Beavis and Butthead, but
and obviously The Simpsons. Yeah, that's sort
it doesn't necessarily need to be animation, does it?
No, I mean, like, definitely Bottom, Monty Python. Your bog standard general sort of inspirations there. But yeah, that's sort of it, really. I mean, also the fact that you don't really get Welsh comedy, really.
No,
you do get it, but it's fucking very few.
Not from the valleys, anyway.
No, like Welsh comedy is just like a bunch of posh cunts up in London, isn't it?
Unless you class...
Or Cardiff even.
Well, the only other thing I can think of is Satellite City.
Yeah, Satellite City. That's and that's like 2000.
Yeah, I know there was one after it, High Hopes.
I used to love High Hopes.
I never really watched it. I never really got into that one.
Well, I used to watch that because I used to film that in Ebervale. You can watch all of High Hopes and Satellite City on YouTube, by the way. Yeah. So if you fancy watching some 90s / early 2000s Welsh comedy, yeah, get it on. I mean, I used to love that when I was a kid.
When I was a kid, I watched it, yeah.
I tell you what, I tell you another one. I tell you another weird inspiration as well. This is kind of going back a bit further. But when I was a youngling, a proper young kid, I used to love drawing. And when I remember my grandfather telling me that Super Ted was made in Wales, and that always kind of spiked me a little bit, because I was always a bit like, whoa, someone from this shithole where I'm from can make a cartoon. When I was growing up in Ebervale.
And then we had Fireman Sam after that, didn't we?
I still love Fireman Sam.
Yeah.
I still love that shit.
I always wanted to know, do you know what? I'm throwing this out there now, I don't know, but I always wanted to know, was Portland Bill? Do you remember that one?
No, I never watched Portland. I know what it is, but I never watched Portland Bill.
Because obviously, because I was younger and I didn't understand the industry or whatever. I had no idea of it. I always assumed that Fireman Sam, Postman Pat, and Portland Bill were just made by the same people because it was the same style.
It might be.
I don't think Fireman Sam is made by the same people who did Postman Pat.
I do love.
It might be made by the same studio, perhaps, but
I do wish they'd bring that animation style back for Fireman Sam. I do, because sometimes I'll check it up on YouTube just to kind of watch like 5 seconds of the animation, and I don't know, it's just a nice warm feel to it, like the handmade sets.
Well, we have spoken about it, haven't we?
Yeah, we did. We were talking once about trying to make our own animation, like Fireman Sam, but once we saw how expensive it would be, we kind of give up then. We were
and how time consuming.
Yeah, once we saw that with stop motion, you have to sit there for hours upon hours. Even more hours when it takes to make the VALE, like moving little toys around. We were like, oh yeah, fuck that, we can't be asked. But other inspiration, I guess the inspiration for why we made the show, obviously, I know it's on a bit big-headed here, but it did start with myself. I mean, because I was trying to do live action films for years, and it just fell on its arse, and it just failed and failed and failed, and I just kind of give up on doing it all.
Do you think that's because you had to rely on too many people? Like you had to bring in other people to help you finish it, whereas with animation you could basically draw it and voice it yourself.
Yeah, basically. I mean, like with live action film, and by the way, this isn't a slant against live action filmmaking. I got the utmost respect for people who do it there, but I just wasn't very good at it, and I wasn't very good at communicating my ideas to people. And although the actors we had were great and stuff, they just weren't doing it the kind of way I envisioned. And when I was trying to edit it together, I was just editing something I wasn't really like happy with. So I just kind of thought, fuck it, I give up on filmmaking now. I'm just going to be a teacher. So I went back into teaching, and this is the story, isn't it? So we lived with Dodge at the time, rest in peace.
First series alumni.
Yeah, I say rest in peace. He's still very much alive. In fact, he's coming over here this evening. But it sounds more dramatic, doesn't it? But when I was working, there was this kid I used to teach that was a bit of a weeaboo. Now, I'm not trying to say Tony isn't based on me at all, but this is kind of how it all started. There was a little weeaboo kid in my class, and his father or stepfather came in to pick him up once, and he was just beaten, like to a T. That guy was just beaten, and it was like a parents' evening kind of thing. And I used to do that voice to Dodge all the time, because Dodge used to have a bit of a puff in the back garden, and I used to go out there and be like, "You fucking stoner, fucking scumbag." I used to do that all the time. And then I was off work on half term, and I just made the first episode. And remember, I was just going to make it about Tony.
Yeah, you made us a laugh, didn't you?
Yeah, but it was just going to be about Tony at first. And then
the first 2 minutes of episode 1 was your original. This is it.
Yeah, but then I put Beaten at the end.
Yeah.
And then when we had Beaten...
Why did you put Beaten at the end?
Because it wasn't... Because the first episode isn't the best episode, as some people might know, but it just wasn't that funny.
Punchy? It wasn't punchy.
It just wasn't punchy, but then as soon as I chucked Beaten, as soon as I had him go downstairs for dinner, and Beaten was in there being like, "Oh, you fucking... coming to the hunting trip," and all that sort of shit.
And you can't help having anxiety. You have anxiety because you stay up all night, sleep all day, and because you're fucking fat. Now fucking eat your salad, get your ass up the fucking wooden hill, and you can get some sleep. I'm driving you into college first thing. And I was talking to your mother, and I'm taking you shooting this weekend.
No, the anime convention is on Saturday.
What the fuck is an anime convention?
And obviously that then led to me saying to you, I know you did voices on the first episode, but you weren't really creatively involved with it at that level. But then
I had nothing to do with the first episode.
But then, obviously then I sat down with you and Dodge, and we were like, we should flesh this out a little bit more and make more episodes.
In all honesty, I think the second episode was primarily you as well, though.
Yeah.
Because you would come to me and Dodge with ideas of what you wanted to do, and then we would talk about it. So I would say mainly the third episode is where it was more of a joint thing. I just remember this as well. It's mad how much you forget about actually making the show. Do you remember that like the first thing like episode 2 started was him getting was Tony getting farted on? Yes.
Fucking have a fucking load of that, boy.
Remember I just animated that bit of Tony getting farted on?
Let's be honest. You found a fart noise.
Yeah.
And you thought, I need to animate something to this.
Basically, right, I found this download called 3 Hours of Fart Sounds. And like I was listening to it, and there was this fart on it that was just like poop. And I partnered that up with the long zoom out of Beaten, and it was just so... It's probably not funny to anyone anymore, but we found that so funny. We were just watching it all the time and just laughing our heads off, and that's when we made the rest of the episode. We were like, oh, we should give Tony 2 friends, and then we should get Beaten 2 friends, and that's when the episode became...
Ironically, what made me think I I want to keep doing this was the first scene in episode 2 when they're on the site.
Yeah.
Because I said to you, my type of humour is that like slow build type of humour, and obviously the end of that scene where they're on site and it's just 20-30 seconds of them drinking cans. That the slice of life, that's one of my still one of my favourite moments in all 3 series.
Yeah.
And that's the moment where I thought, do you know what, I think we could do something with this.
Yeah.
And ironically, there's not actually that many scenes of them on site together.
Well, no, because obviously that's where the
Alan gets fired, doesn't he, in the series 1?
That's where the story goes, isn't it? But
Yeah.
and we'll have to wait and see now to see what happens for future episodes with the building site.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think that's enough for that question.
Yeah.
Yeah. So main inspirations for the Vale.
I think you give a couple of different answers there.
Yeah. So I think they've got every angle going for that one. So King of the Hill, bottom, Monty Python, boredom.
Yeah.
That's
Those
it.
are the main ones.
I could have answered it like that.
Right. So number 2. Are you going to make any other series like The Vale or just stop when it's done? This is from J. Petez.
Okay.
Jaypetez. I don't know why I spelled that out now because I'm going to feel obliged to spell everyone
I think it's
else's
J. Pete's. I would have said J.
Is that what you're saying?
I would have said J. Pete's.
Okay, yeah, J. Pete's.
Yeah, I mean, like, well, you never know. I mean, we have actually, full on, we have other things in store for the YouTube channel, and the plan is to keep making cartoons based in Vale, with some characters kind of drifting in and out as we go along. And you know, you never say never. There might be some more. There might be some more Vale after season 3.
I think there'll definitely be Vale related.
Yeah, and obviously we got
whether it'll be the actual Vale.
Well, we got a special up our sleeves. Hilltop versus Glencoid, which is I reckon that's definitely happening.
Yeah,
it's got to happen. It's got to happen. Prog's are scared about the workload, but it's going to happen. Don't worry.
Well, no, I'm not. No, do you know what? I think it'd be good as a one-off. I just don't want to like commit to saying we're going to do it and then we get too busy or stuff happens and we can't do it. I know, in fairness, you're the type of person that would make time for it, and I think we all would.
Yeah.
But I don't like saying we're definitely doing this, and 2 years down the line we just like doing other things and we can't do it. We got to get
episodes 7 and 8 done.
Well, exactly. I mean, how long is it taking to do that?
Got a long time.
Yeah.
I'm into my 5th month on episode 7 now, and but I think episode 8 weirdly will be quicker to make. Because the problem with episode 7 is we just had a fuckload of new backgrounds and loads of different characters to draw and scenes with extras in there. And that
you keep saying we, but in fairness, I don't know if anyone else is, if everyone else is aware of this, but you are the only animator we've got. So and also I know a couple of people chip in and help you now and again with certain scenes, but you are primarily the only person that sits in here and draws.
But the thing with episode 7 is we kept changing things as well. Remember the beginning kept changing.
Yeah.
I reckon if we didn't keep changing the beginning scene and one of the bits in the middle, I'm not going to say what it is to stop surprises, but we just kept altering it, didn't we? I reckon we would have shaved a month and a half off time.
Are you talking?
I'll bleep that bit out of this video because I don't want to give any spoilers away. But yeah, I'm on about the what I'm talking about. I'm going to beep all this out. But
it was our.
It was the yes, and it was it was also the stuff with that's getting beeped out. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
people just heard a big beep over that.
This is
so will there be more stuff after the Vale? So
it is going to be absolutely.
There is going to be more cartoons set in Evervale, 100% on YouTube and maybe in other places. Okay, so question 3 from Nikki Sidima. I think it's Nikki Sidima. I think that's Welsh. That's Welsh, isn't it? Nikki Sidima. Well, that's why I went for the Sid. Double D. Nikki Sidima. I'll put it up on the screen anyway so people can see. As creator of this all, who do you think is the most misunderstood character in the Vale? That's a good question. That's a really hard question to answer. Misunderstood is a really good question, but tough to think about. Who's the most misunderstood question? I'm going to let you go first on this one, Prog, because I think after series 1, people would have said. I think during series 1, people would have said Beaton. Yeah, I would have said Beaton because Beaton isn't who he makes himself out to be. But I don't think that anymore. Yeah, well, because in series 1, Beaton's a bit of an arsehole, isn't he? Yeah. But he's a funny arsehole. But then he comes round a bit, and at the end, and he becomes you kind of have him written off as one of these like cruel stepdad kind of guys. But then, you know, in series 2, he's kind of got a bit of a heart to him. he loves Chaz the Snake, and he's a bit nicer to Tony in series 2.
Yeah.
Obviously in series 3, then he's spoilers alert, but he's going through all his like. He's starting to have anxiety, obviously mirroring what Tony
Well, that's
went
already
through.
come out, doesn't it? So
Yeah, but that's obviously mirroring. So he's kind of going through the same things Tony went through in series 1.
that's what I mean, though. He's not misunderstood anymore, is it? Because there's enough backstory and plot and character development now where you kind of know who he is.
I think they're all kind of misunderstood to a certain degree. I mean, like you could say that about any character's quite misunderstood. I mean, except for like.
I'll tell you who's an interesting one, and we actually had a proper talk about this the other day, is Jockey.
Yes, we did, yeah.
We both had different ideas about who he actually was.
Yeah.
And we're 3 series in, and it didn't actually make a difference to what we'd written, how we saw him.
Yeah, well, it was, to be honest, in all fairness to that one, I was trying to push that agenda across because I wanted to get that joke in. But like, but I'm not going to say what that joke was because it's a bit brutal.
Yeah.
But yeah, the question was like whether he's a heartless serial shagger or if he's a serial shagger who cares.
Well, I just.
But in retrospect, I do agree with you and Tom on that one.
Oh, okay,
I was quite selfishly just trying to push a joke forward. But then I would have cut anyway. But at the time, I thought that one crappy joke was funny.
Well, no, it was a funny line.
Yeah.
It just wasn't in keeping with him, was it?
Sometimes when we're writing, one of us will have an idea for something which is very funny, but we're quite faithful to ourselves in what characters would and wouldn't say. And this was one of those cases where I thought of something disgusting for Jockey to say, but it wasn't really in keeping with his character, but we were all laughing. But,
yeah, we did laugh.
So I didn't really agree with that. I do think that Jockey is a serial shagger with some loyalty to him.
My personal opinion is he just loves women and he can't get enough.
Yeah,
so.
And women can't get enough of him.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
My phone's unlocked again. Right, that's a good question. I hope we answered it properly though.
Yeah. Right, number 4 from die_electic.
Dialectic.
Dialectic, yeah. But I'm giving out the full. Should I not do the underscore then?
Yeah, say it, but yeah. I'm just trying to figure out how to say it after you.
Is the Milky and the story about him? Is the Milky character and the story about him based on a real story?
Is Milky? Yeah, absolutely. That's based on you. That's what you were like up until you were about 21, wasn't it? No.
Up until you moved in.
Yeah, that's based on prog.
And you said this shit's got to stop.
Let the record show that Milky is 100% based on prog and Tom. No, is Milky based on anyone? Not really. It's more the bullying that's based. Like, so basically, before I started making the VALE, like I said, I was a teacher, so I worked in I worked in a place in Vale, which was which was like a youth training scheme for kids with behaviour issues. And we used to get there was this really weird thing in there where you'd get a mix of just you'd get kids with behaviour issues, but ones that were just a bit wild and they couldn't be controlled in a classroom setting, so they'd come to us. But then you'd also get kids that were very anxious and were victims of bullying. So you'd have like this, and I never got why they were chucked in with me. And the reason they were chucked in is because they were so anxious they couldn't go to school. But then you're forcing them then to go to a youth training scheme.
Yeah.
Where they're just getting where they're back in with all the bullies that were so brutal they were kicked out of school. So, but I used to come up across it all the time. You just get kids in there that were really quiet and meek and scared, like Milky, and then you'd get a brainy kid in there that was just ripping them raw all the time. But obviously, unlike
it happens everywhere.
I know bullying happens. It's a sad thing, but then obviously I wasn't like Mitchell, but I was just all obviously I do the voice of Mitchell, but I wasn't all you'd have to step in and be like, yo, stop doing that now.
Yeah.
Calm down. But yeah, that's sort of what it's based on, really. Just
the Milky name and backstory is basically just something funny we thought of, and we're just trying to think of something funny for him. What can they rip him on?
I might cut some of this stuff out because I can't see too much of this stuff, but it's kind of...
Don't say that. Don't say it.
No, okay, I won't say that, but okay, I've thought of a new way to say it. It's sort of, when I was younger in school, there was always that kid with a horrible rumour around them. And it was never true. It was just this foul rumour that just plagued them forever. Yeah. And you'd always get different snippets and different versions of it from everyone. So let's just pretend the rumour was so-and-so, I don't fucking know, something embarrassing. They wet themselves one day. They wet themselves in class. But then it would turn into they shat themselves in class. Like after Chinese Whispers got involved.
Or they golden showered their teacher. Or
they liked getting peed on. Yeah. So basically kids getting bullied. We had a bit of the problem with the camera and it shut off, so I had to jump in. But yeah, Milky is just based on bullying. in schools. It was like that in the valleys for me anyway. And just the rumours you get that go along with it, which grow and grow and grow and grow through Chinese whispers.
Yeah.
We've all seen them. And I do feel my heart goes out
to say that anymore. Chinese whispers.
What else is it known as?
I don't know. Until we know
Asian,
what the
Asian whispers.
Until we know what the actual term is, then we'll continue to use it. Please let us know in the comments.
In the comments, is Chinese whispers okay to say? Are we going to get cancelled for saying Chinese whispers?
Right. Question 5 from James Liberty. Will you make season 4 of The Vale?
Not anytime soon. We got, like I said in the last, it's a bit similar to the last question, isn't it?
Let's keep it brief.
Yeah.
Never say never, but we'd like to do other stuff.
Yes, never say never.
Leave it at that.
100% definitely going to make season 4.